The space station floated quietly near the edge of the galaxy. Most days were calm. Nothing strange ever happened. But today was different. A small ship came from the dark. It was broken and spinning. Alarms rang across the human station. The ship was falling fast like it had no pilot. Commander Briggs gave the order. Bring it in before it crashes. Robotic arms caught the damaged ship just in time. Smoke came from the engines. One side was burned. The humans rushed to open the hatch. Inside, they found only one survivor. She was not human. A girl with pale blue skin, glowing eyes, and black hair sat on the floor. Her hands were shaking. Her mouth was red, like blood, but not her own. She looked young, maybe 17 in human years. But her eyes were ancient. Two guards moved closer. One of them, Mason, reached out to help her stand. The girl looked up. She bit him. It was fast. Her teeth were small but sharp like a snake's. Mason screamed and fell. His body shook. His skin turned blue. Then he stopped moving, dead in seconds. Everyone froze. Step back now, yelled the commander. The girl didn't move. She just stared at them with those glowing eyes. Cold, empty, silent. The guards aimed their guns. But the girl didn't fight. She just dropped her head and said, in a soft voice, "I didn't want to hurt him." They locked her inside a glass cell deep in the research lab. No one was allowed near her, not after what she did. The doctors ran tests, scans, blood checks. Her bite carried something strange, a virus, a poison. It was deadly to every alien. Life form in their records. One drop could kill, but then a young soldier named Reed asked a question no one thought of. If her bite kills aliens, why did she bite Mason? He was human. The lab went silent. Dr. Lin, the head scientist, frowned. You're right. It doesn't make sense. Reed stared at the girl through the glass. She sat quietly in the corner, her knees pulled to her chest. Watching him, not angry, not violent, just sad. Later that night, Reed did something risky. He entered her cell. The cameras were off, just for a minute. No one saw. He walked slowly. I don't want to hurt you, he said. I want to understand. The girl looked at him. You're not afraid? No, Reed said. She tilted her head. Strange. Then she moved faster than any human. In a blink, she was in front of him. She bit him. Reed fell back, breathing hard. His arm burned for a second, then stopped. No pain, no poison, no death. He was still alive. The girl's eyes grew wide. You're not like the others, she said quietly. You survived me. Reed stood slowly. Why did you do that? I needed to be sure. The next morning, Reed woke up feeling different. He heard something, a whisper, a voice in his head. Her voice. Can you hear me? It asked. He looked around. No one was there. He touched his arm where she bit him. The skin was marked with a faint glow like a scar of light. He returned to the lab. She looked at him and smiled, just a little. You are the first, she said. The first what? Reed asked. The first to survive. That night, strange things started happening. One of the alien researchers touched her glass cell and dropped dead instantly. Like Mason, but Reed could walk close to her. He could even sit by the glass. And nothing happened. The scientists were confused, afraid, but Reed wasn't. He sat near her every night, and slowly. They talked. My name is Vila, she said one night. Where are you from? He asked. I don't know the name. My people are gone. I was made, not born. Made? She nodded. As a weapon. But I escaped. Reed looked at her. Why don't you escape now? Vila touched the glass. Because here, for the first time, I am not alone. Reed didn't know what to say. But deep inside, he felt the same. Outside the station, far in the stars. A ship moved silently. Black. Fast. Watching. On the side of the ship. A symbol glowed red. The Valari, they had found her. And they were coming. It started at 3:17 a.m. Reed sat up in bed, gasping. His heart raced. Sweat ran down his face. But this time, it wasn't a dream. He heard something, a whisper, soft, inside his head. "Don't let them take me." Reed looked around the room, empty. The lights were off. The door was closed. "They are close. Closer than you think." The voice was gentle, sad, and familiar. Vila. Somehow, she was speaking to him without words. He grabbed his jacket and ran to the lab. The hallway lights flickered as Reed walked. The station felt cold and wrong. Too quiet. When he reached Vila's cell, he stopped. She was already standing at the glass, staring at him like she'd been waiting. "You heard me," she said without moving her lips. Reed nodded. "How are you doing that?" "Our minds touched when I bit you," she said. "Now I can speak to you. Even when you sleep." Reed felt a chill. "You said someone is coming?" Vila's eyes dimmed. "The Valeri. They made me. I escaped. They want me back." Reed asked, "Why now? Why this station?" She paused. "Because I spoke to you. That was the signal. They can feel it when I reach out." Reed's heart sank. "Then we're in danger." Vila nodded slowly. "They will not ask. They will destroy everything." 12 hours later, a strange signal appeared on the station's radar. A ship was near, but not answering calls. Commander Briggs watched the screen. "Who the hell are they?" Reed already knew the answer. Later that night, Vila sat alone in the dark corner of her cell. Her knees were pulled to her chest. Reed came in and sat near the glass again. He stared at her glowing eyes. "You said you were made. How?" Vila didn't speak for a long time. Then, she lifted her head and touched the glass. "Let me show you." Reed leaned forward, and the moment his hand touched the glass, his mind exploded with light. He wasn't on the station anymore. He stood inside a giant metal lab. Cold, silver, thousands of wires and glass tubes. Children screamed. Alien children. Different kinds. All inside cages. Vila was one of them. Only a child. Her teeth were normal. Her skin was dull. She cried every night. Then the tests began. They gave her injections. Electric shocks. Strange lights in her brain. Pain, over and over. The others died, one by one. But she lived. And her body changed. Her blood turned black. Her teeth sharpened. Her touch became deadly. They called her the bioweapon. But she had a name. Vila. Reed fell back, gasping. The vision ended. His head throbbed with pain. "You were a child," he whispered. "I still am," Vila said. "But they took my childhood." Reed clenched his fists. "The Valari, they did this to you?" Vila nodded. "And they will do worse to anyone who hides me." Suddenly, alarms rang across the station. Warning, unidentified ship approaching. The Valari had arrived, and they weren't here to talk. In the command center, everyone rushed to their stations. The enemy ship was black, sharp, and fast like a blade in space. No signals, no reply. Commander Briggs ordered shields up. "This isn't a visit. Prepare to fire." But the enemy ship was already charging weapons. Back in the lab, red lights flashed. Vila stared at Reed. "They found me. I can't run anymore." Reed looked at her glass cell. "Then we fight," he said. She smiled sadly. "You'll die." He shook his head. "Not this time." As the station prepared for battle, Reed walked out of the lab. But he didn't see what Vila saw. A faint glow on the back of his neck. A new mark. A strange symbol. It wasn't just her voice in his mind now. Something else had entered, and it had just started to wake up. 30 seconds of silence. That's all the station had left. The black Valeri ship stood in space like a shadow made of knives. No signal, no message. Just waiting. Inside the command room, everyone held their breath. Maybe they're scanning. US, one officer said. Reed shook his head. No, they're already inside. Everyone turned to him. What do you mean? Asked Commander Briggs. Reed didn't answer, because at that exact moment, the lights died. The whole station went dark. Click, click. Footsteps echoed in the metal halls, but they were too sharp. Too heavy. Not human. Somewhere deep in the station, in the lowest level where the air was cold and the walls dripped water, a single maintenance bot rolled through the hallway. It stopped. A shadow moved behind it. Fast. Then, silence. When the lights flickered back on, the bot was crushed. And the shadow was gone. In the lab, Vila stood in her glass cell, completely still. Her eyes were closed, but her voice was clear in Reed's mind. They're here. I can feel them. Reed pulled out his sidearm. His fingers shook. How many? He whispered. Too many. And one of them is not like the others. Suddenly, the station shook. A powerful blast hit the outer wall. Sparks flew. People screamed. Shields down to 40%. A soldier yelled. Then the enemy ship fired again. Boom. Half the docking bay vanished into space. Reed ran through the smoke-filled hallways, heading toward the lab. But he wasn't the only one. Behind him, a sound followed, metal on metal. Heavy, dragging feet. He turned, aimed, and fired. The bullets hit something tall, armored, black-skinned, with red lights glowing from its chest. It didn't fall. It kept walking. Reed reached the lab, the doors, and slammed them shut behind him. Vila was already standing at the glass. You brought one of them here, she said. Reed nodded. I saw it, 7 feet tall, like a tank. She stepped close to the glass. That's not a soldier. That's a seeker. A what? They don't stop. They don't feel. They follow the scent of my blood. Reed's face went pale. Then, what do we do? Vila looked straight at him. You open the door. No, Reed said. If I do that, you've already changed, Vila whispered. You can feel it, can't you? Reed's hands were hot. The mark on his neck burned. Like fire. I'm not like them, he said. No, she agreed. You're something new. Reed placed his hand on the security panel. The glass slid open with a hiss. Vila stepped out, her skin glowing slightly in the red light. Then she touched Reed's hand. In that moment, he saw everything. The lab where she was made, the hundreds who died, the Valari's true plan. Not war, but cleansing of every race not under their control. And the worst part, they needed Vila alive, because her blood was the key. Alarms screamed. The seeker broke through the hallway. Doors metal twisted like paper. Reed stepped in front of Vila. The seeker raised its weapon. Reed raised his hand and stopped it. Mid-air. The weapon floated, frozen. Reed's eyes were glowing now, just like hers. Vila gasped. You're connecting, she said. It's starting. Reed's voice was calm. What is? You're not just immune to me, she said. You're the next version. The seeker charged. Reed moved. One punch. Just one. Seeker flew backward through the wall. Gone. Vila looked at him with something like fear and hope. Reed didn't smile. He looked out the window, toward the black ship still waiting in space. They sent one, he said. They'll send more. Vila nodded. Unless we go to them first. Reed stopped dreaming for the last 3 nights. Sleep had only brought darkness. No dreams, no noise, no peace. But tonight, something changed. He was standing in a burning forest. The sky was purple. The trees were on fire, and Vila was there, floating above the flames. Her eyes glowed, bright white. The bite was not to kill you, she said. It was to wake you. Then she vanished. Reed woke with a sharp breath. His body felt heavy. His heart was pounding. He looked at his arm, the place where Vila had bitten him. The skin was no longer normal. It glowed with lines, golden lines, running like wires under his skin. He jumped up and looked in the mirror. His eyes flashed gold for just a second. What's happening to me? He whispered. In the lab, Vila waited. She already knew. When Reed entered, she looked at him calmly. You saw it, didn't you? Reed nodded slowly. I think I saw you in fire. She gave a small smile. That wasn't fire. That was memory. Reed stepped closer. What did your bite do to me? Vila's face turned serious. My bite is a weapon to most. But to one species, it's a key. A key to what? Reed asked. To power. To memory. To something old. She stepped toward him. Long ago, she said, there was another race. Older than the Valari. They ruled before words, before light. They used blood as language, as code, as power. Reed frowned. Like magic? Like science so advanced, she said. It looks like magic to you. Vila pointed to the glowing lines on Reed's skin. That code is in you now, because your body didn't fight it. Why not? He asked. Because humans are strange. She said softly. You survive everything. You change. You adapt. Even my creators didn't expect that. Suddenly, the floor shook. Another blast. Sirens screamed again. Valari troops have boarded the station. Reed pulled out his weapon. But Vila stopped him. No, she said. You don't need that anymore. He looked at her confused. Then what do I need? She touched his chest. You need to stop holding back. The lab doors exploded open. 3 Valari soldiers charged in armor black, weapons glowing red. Reed didn't move. He closed his eyes, and the room went silent. The wind around him rose. Objects floated. Energy crackled in the air. Vila whispered. You're unlocking the bite. Reed opened his eyes, pure gold now. He raised his hand. The soldiers froze mid-step. They couldn't move. He turned his palm. They flew backward into the wall, crushed. One scream, then silence. Reed dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Vila rushed to him. You used too much. I didn't mean to, he said. I know, she said gently. It's not just power, it's memory. You carry my past now, my pain. Reed looked up. Why me? Vila knelt beside him. Because you didn't fear. Me. You didn't see a weapon. You saw a person. She stood slowly. The bite is not just a curse, she said. It's a gift, a link, between what I was and what you will become. Outside, more ships were coming. The station was losing power. The crew was panicking. Reed stood up, face hard. We need to leave. Vila shook her head. They'll follow me anywhere. Reed touched the glowing mark on his arm. Let them, he said. This time. We follow them back. The first thing to change was his heartbeat. It was no longer steady. No longer human. It sounded like a machine and a drum mixed together, slow, heavy, and deep. Boom. Boom. Reed sat alone in the escape pod bay. The others were evacuating. The station was dying. Flames burst in the far hallway. Metal groaned. But Reed didn't move. He was watching his hands. They were changing. The glowing lines under his skin were moving like rivers of gold. They were spreading up his arms, across his chest. His reflection on the pod window didn't look human anymore. His pupils had turned into narrow slits. His veins glowed, and something inside him whispered, "This is what you were meant to become." Flashback 5. Hours earlier, the station had lost half its power. Fires had started. Valori soldiers were crawling through the halls like insects. Reed and Vela had made it to the reactor room. She had her hand on the wall, listening to the station like it was. Breathing. We can't hold this place, she said. There are too many. Reed didn't answer, because something else was happening to him. He could see through walls. He could hear the Valari's heartbeats from 4 floors away. He could feel energy, raw power burning under the floor like heat from the sun. Reed? Vela asked. He looked at her slowly, and for a second, his eyes were not gold anymore. They were black with fire, back in the pod bay, present time. Reed grabbed the metal railing. It bent like rubber. He gasped. I can't control it. Vela stepped forward. She didn't look afraid. She looked sad. You're mutating, she said. It's the bite, isn't it? No, she said. It's you. The bite only woke it up. This was always inside you. Reed shook his head. I'm becoming one of them. No, Vela said. You're becoming more than any of them. Suddenly, a huge explosion rocked the pod bay doors. Smoke flooded in. The Valari commander had arrived. Tall, calm, wearing armor made of shadow and bone. He didn't carry a gun. He didn't need one. He looked at Vela, then at Reed, and he smiled. So, the experiment worked. Vela stepped in front of Reed. You won't take him. The commander raised his hand. Reed roared. Not screamed, roared. The whole room shook. Golden fire exploded around him. The walls bent outward. Lights shattered. The commander raised his other hand and blocked it. He didn't move. Impressive, he said, but not finished. Reed charged, faster than light. He slammed into the Lari leader and punched once. The air cracked like thunder. The commander flew backward into the wall, but landed on his feet. He laughed. Good, you'll do nicely, Reed blinked. What? You're not our enemy, the commander said. You're our future. Vela pulled Reed back. Don't listen to him. Reed looked between them. He could feel the fire in his blood. The bite, the power, the memory of thousands of dead test subjects inside his head. He looked at Vela. I don't know what I am anymore. She grabbed his hand. You're still human, she whispered. But you're not just human. Suddenly, more Valari troops entered. Dozens surrounded them. The commander smiled. You can't escape. Reed stepped forward, calm. I'm not escaping. He raised both hands. The air around him burned gold. And then, he exploded. A wave of energy blasted in all directions. Troops flew, walls melted. Even the commander stumbled. When the smoke cleared, Reed was standing in the middle of the room, breathing slow, eyes glowing. Alone. The Valari were gone. But so was something else, a piece of Reed's soul. In the silence after the storm, Reed didn't breathe. He stood in the middle of the destroyed docking bay, burned metal, cracked floors. The air still tasted like fire. Around him, the Valari troops were gone, blasted away by the golden wave he had released. He had power now. Too much power, but inside, he felt empty. Something was missing. He turned slowly. Vela was lying on the floor still. Vela? No answer. He rushed to her side, dropped to his knees, and shook her shoulder gently. Vela, wake up. Her eyes opened barely. You used too much, she whispered. I'm fine, he said. She gave a weak smile. No, I meant me. Reed carried her to the medical bay. There were no doctors left, just him, her, and a computer still blinking with power. He placed her gently on the bed. She was growing colder. He grabbed her hand. You're going to be okay. Vela shook her head. I was made for war, she said softly, not for long life. My time is ending. Reed's jaw tightened. No, you said I'm the first to survive your bite. That has to mean something. Vela looked at him, her glowing eyes dim now. It does. She pointed to his chest. There's something inside you now. It's waking up. You felt it. The fire, the vision, the voice. Reed nodded. What is it? Vela paused. Something very old. Older than the Valari. Older than my kind. She reached up and touched his forehead. You're carrying the last code of a forgotten race. It lived through me. Now it lives in you. Reed stepped back, stunned. You're the last of your kind? She nodded. They made me from the remains of the old ones. They didn't know what they were unlocking. They just wanted a weapon. And now? Reed asked. Now that weapon is dying. Suddenly, the station lights flickered. A signal came through the comms. Beep, beep. And cons. Incoming message encrypted. Reed pressed the screen. A Valari symbol appeared. We are not your enemy. You are one of us now. Come to us. And know the truth. Reed stared at the screen. It made no sense. He had killed their troops. He had destroyed their leader. Why would they want him now? Vila sat up slowly, pain in her eyes. They don't want to fight you anymore, she said. They want to use you, like they used me. Reed clenched his fists. They'll never get the chance. Vela grabbed his arm, firm this time. They will lie to you. Offer you power, history, control. But it's a trap. Reed looked into her eyes. What do I do? Vila touched his chest. There's an ancient machine hidden deep in the ruins of a lost system. I saw it in dreams. It's connected to the code inside you. A machine? Yes, it can awaken the full power of what you are now. Reed stood tall. Then I'll destroy it. Vila nodded. That's why I showed you everything. That's why I bit you. Not to create a weapon, but to pass on the last warning of my kind. Outside, the stars shifted. The Valari ship was gone. But in its place, a strange hole had opened in space, a black gate glowing with white edges. A path, a challenge. An invitation. Vila looked at it and whispered, that's where it ends. Reed looked down at her. No, he said. That's where I start. He stood at the edge of the universe, looking into the past. The gate Vila had seen in her dreams now floated before him. A black circle cut into space, with light spinning around its edge like a dying star. Reed was alone. No crew. No backup. Not even Vila. She had stayed behind, too weak to travel. But before he left, she whispered one sentence into his mind. Whatever you find in there, don't forget what you are. Now standing before the gate, he wondered, what was he? Human? Monster? Or something between? The ship entered the gate. Instant silence. No stars. No planets. Only the machine. It was floating inside a hollow world. Metal mountains, glowing rings, spinning towers. Everything pulsed with energy. Like it was alive. Like it had been waiting. The ship landed. Reed stepped out. No sound. Just the hum of power under his feet. Then, a voice. You have returned. It came from everywhere and nowhere. The final code. The last signal. The seed of evolution. Reed looked up. High above him, at the center of the machine, stood a figure. Not Valeri. Not human. Something else. Made of light. Moving like mist, the voice continued. You carry what was lost. The old power, the golden line. Reed raised his hand. Gold light glowed under his skin. I didn't come to join you, he said. We know. I came to end it. You cannot stop what is already inside you. Suddenly, the platform shook. The ground opened, and a huge form rose from below. A copy of Reed. Same face. Same gold veins, but its eyes were black and empty. It stared at him. You are the seed, the voice said. It is the fruit. Reed took a step back. His copy moved forward. What's this? Reed whispered. This is what you become if you choose power. The clone attacked. Fast, strong, brutal. Reed fought. Back blow for blow. Power for power. Energy cracked in the air. Walls shattered. The machine roared with every strike. But Reed was slowing down. The clone was getting stronger. Then Reed heard it. Vila's voice. Soft, weak, but clear. You're not a weapon. You're not them. You're not what they want. Reed closed his eyes. He let the energy fade from his hands. The clone grabbed him by the throat, ready to kill. But Reed didn't fight. He whispered, I remember now. And then he smiled. The clone paused. Confused. In that moment of stillness, Reed reached forward and touched the clone's chest. His light passed into it. Not fire. Not pain. Memory. The clone staggered back suddenly, overwhelmed by visions. Vila as a child. The pain of the lab. The dead children. The loneliness. The small smile when Reed said, You're safe now. The clone dropped to its knees, and then it faded into dust. The machine's lights went dark. The voice was silent. Reed stood alone. Once more. Not as a god, not as a weapon, just as a man who made the right choice. Back at the station, Vila opened her eyes. A warm wind touched her face. She smiled. He chose life, she whispered. 1 week later, Reed stood outside the medical bay. His body was calm now. The gold glow had faded, but the mark remained. Vila walked beside him. He asked, "Do you think they'll come back?" She shook her head. "Not for us," she said. "They'll look for a new weapon." Reed looked at his hand. "We won't let them find one." She smiled, then gently kissed the back of his hand. This time, it didn't burn, but a small light stayed where her lips had touched, like a living spark. He looked at it. Not afraid. Just curious. And that spark was only the beginning.